Hello and welcome to the Vista. Today we have the absolute pleasure of being joined by content king, disc jockey, mentor, caster, creator, esports Aristotle for the University of Northampton, Fnatic Stallion. How are we?
Gosh, I'm good, mate. I'm good. That's quite the list you got to go through there to get there. I mean, that was a thank you for the amazing intro. I don't know about content king, especially at the moment. I'm currently going through a lot of changes and stuff, but we're getting there. And thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course, mate. And I mean, on your content, like you make
Yeah,
content across so many games as well, right? You're doing
yeah,
IRL content now, like it's everywhere.
Got it all going on.
yeah. I mean, obviously having Nefi obviously on part of the brand as well. It's like having basically a second version of myself, just being able to kind of like split my time effectively. I know they always say focus like in one avenue, but I don't know. I just love esports in general. I just try to get in as much as I can. You only live once and all that, right? So
You're definitely living it, mate.
try to, bro. Yeah, that's for sure.
Amazing. I mean, like going way back, right?
Yeah.
What made you start creating
Way
content?
back, because you're so old. Way back.
Wow.
Did you hear that? He said way back.
Way back.
You've been doing it for years now, right? So
Been a long time, mate. It was 6 years in February, so it's been 6 and a bit now. Well, I mean, gaming was a natural kind of like changeover because I've been basically gaming my whole life. Long time, clearly, as we've just and with content, content was never really an avenue I actually wanted to go into originally. I wanted to be a pro player. This was again way back. This is before I went to uni. When we were talking like Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2, that kind of era. I actually wanted to become a pro player in either of those games. I used to scrim, land, GBs, you know how it was back in the day at MLG. That was the goal, right? And then I went to uni. So that kind of like shot all that down in the foot because I had to, actually study and become responsible. And then I came out the other way. I know, right? Boring. Then I came out the other way and just started working in like, I did obviously a degree in events, did some events, hospitality and stuff. And after a couple of years, I was like, man, working all these hours for like minimum wage, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, is just not it, right? So that's kind of like my beginnings. And then a friend of mine, when we were playing, funnily enough, League of Legends back in 2018, was like, you should just stream. And I was like, I've been watching Twitch since it was like just in TV, but I never like saw myself being the guy to stream. And he was like, just do it because you're always talking, you always make me laugh. I was like, all right, I'll try. Like, I'll see what happens.
In there somewhere.
Well, yeah, he threw some compliments in there, but I was like, I had like the worst PC ever. If Jack's room doesn't explode, that's what my PC sounded like when I first ran OBS. But yeah, I tried playing games like Skyrim, Fallout 3. My PC was having none of it, man. I remember still getting my first raid ever, and it blue screened my whole setup, which was I basically wanted to cry. Yeah, it was like 12 viewers, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is it! I finally made it in double digits." And then bang, blue screen. But yeah, basically in terms of like starting it was just a friend convincing me. Really, always loved gaming, and yeah, eventually became a natural crossover. Really, so that's how it all began.
And out of that 6 years that it took you to build this kind of community, where was like the start point where you were like, this is what I want to do. This is actually going to become something. This is like my life.
You know what? It was weird because I never got into it with any intentions of anything. Like I had no idea what was
That's the
going to
best
come.
way to do it, right? No
Absolutely,
intentions,
yeah. I mean, I just loved gaming. I thought, oh, this would be cool. Maybe I can meet some people. I didn't know anyone in the streaming world. I knew a few people in the gaming world, but that was really it. So I'd say it took off quite quickly because I started doing like horror streams and stuff. I found my own like little gap at the time, scream streams, which were like weren't really done back then. But people seemed to love it, and the viewer count just kept going up. And I started building a presence on Twitter, which obviously now is still important, but back then it was like the place for building your name up as a creator. So yeah, I kind of got in there before the whole lockdown and COVID situations, before the big kind of like boom. So yeah, it took off really quick actually. I think 3-4 months is when I really realized I was like, okay, I'm starting to earn some good money here. And then I actually went full time. When was it? October 2018. So it was literally 8 months because yeah, at the 6-month mark, I just started looking at my stats and I was like, I'm earning more than my full-time job for half the hours and I'm not even moving from my house. So I was like, I'm going to trial some stuff. And I took like a 2-week holiday from work and I just trialed full-time streaming. And I looked at the numbers. I was like, this is insane.
I did, to be fair.
I've got to trial it. And I was still living with mum back then, right? So I didn't have a mortgage, didn't have all this, all that. Didn't have to worry about any of that. And I just think, you know what, I'm gonna try it. I'll go give it a go for a year. If it don't work out, it is what it is. I go back to getting a job, and I did it for 5 years. So yeah, crazy.
That is wild, and like the fact it happened so quickly, I think is a testament to you as well. Like you've obviously got the personality for it, like larger than life. I love it. Like
yeah, I mean, I just chat a lot of. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on the cast.
Yeah,
you can. Okay, yeah, I chat a lot of shit. So I think that combined with like the constant music, that upbeat atmosphere. I've never been like diagnosed with it, but I'm convinced I've got ADHD of some sort, because when I'm like playing, if I'm not like constantly YYing or like jumping, or like even when I play Halo, people say, "Why do you jump all the time?" It's like just a habit I've got from like Halo 3 back in the day. So I've got that like itch, like there needs to be constant stuff going on, and I think that
people
reflects
catch
in.
up on that itch as well, don't they? People in chat can bounce back off that and then reciprocate energy, and then that makes you almost bounce back more. It's definitely that reflects in having been in your chat. That definitely reflects in like the people that watch you as well.
Yeah, we just try and just create chaos, really, and I think that that does definitely reflect on my community, which drives me nuts every day. But yeah, no, it was good. It was not expected by any means, especially when I first started. Like I started just the same as everybody else from zero, didn't know no one. I didn't have the specs for it. Just worked really hard, built my way up, and it's actually mental to see how much it's changed now. Like going full time in 6 months now, unless you like blow up on like TikTok, is like it's almost impossible. So hard to do it now.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned this earlier with Team Stallion. Now you got Nefi working with a brand. You're looking for a designer as well, right? Like you got big plans.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, Matt. I'll take the plans to the grave if I have to. Like if every day that you're not working hard, you're slacking, as far as I'm concerned. So I mean, it made sense to bring Nefi in. I mean, I talked about it on the timeline a little bit, but it was only like my real close, tight knit group that saw it kind of fold out last year. I went through like a period of depression a little bit last year, where we were coming out of the lockdown thing, and like everybody's stats were like dropping unless you were like in the the big leagues and stuff. Obviously, I don't play like Warzone or Resurgence, so multiplayer was something that was just kind of like also on the down. So everything for me was just like going down, and I had my eggs in so many baskets. I didn't really have any help. It was just me doing everything, and I think I just like mentally imploded. And I was just like, yeah, I had a rough couple of months, really. But it's weird because if I didn't have those rough couple of months, I don't think I'd be where I'm at now. And like if you don't ever go through that, then you don't really know what like rough times can be like. Because I think the first 5 years were literally just like that, and then it wasn't until like the year before last and last year where I really started seeing that. So that kind of put a lot of things into perspective, and it also made me realize that actually I need some help. And obviously I met Nefi. We never intended to go into business together, but with her marketing background, and obviously she's literally next door now. It just made a lot of sense. She came into this not really knowing that much in our space, but learned a lot, just as I did, really. And I gave her a shot, and now she's here. So now I can't get rid of
her. You said as well. I was like always scroll through people's tweets and stuff before we get them on, but like you said to Nefi, content 24/7, and she's definitely making the most of that, right?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm like easy to admit straight away that content is not my strong point. Like it is making videos and gaining like hundreds of thousands of views. Aside, I've had my moments and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I know for a fact that is not where I excel. For me, it's like throw me in front of a camera in a live environment and just do your thing, like as a streamer, a caster, a host. That's where I thrive. But in today's day and age, you can't have one without the other. And if anything, over the last couple of years, the other is now important than what I actually enjoy. So, I had to have somebody. And even though that's not necessarily where her expertise is, she's a lot better at like dumbing down and like researching and figuring things out than I am. So we kind of like complement each other in like what we prefer to do and what we like to do. Basically, she calls me a camera slut. She's like, just throw you in the camera and I'll just fix everything else. It's like, yeah, sick. Sounds good. That's what I've looked for. So, because before, I mean, you two will both know this, right? Having to do your own streaming, your own editing, your own content, your own everything, it becomes extremely overwhelming. And if I'm fully honest, content isn't necessarily something I enjoy massively, but it's like something you have to do, right, in our space. So I needed some help on that. And yeah, it made a lot of sense bringing in somebody who was already like I'm really close with and that could learn the process and spend crazy amount of money, and then have somebody who wouldn't be as committed to the Stallion brand as what she is. Because when I brought her on, I was like, right, this is cool. And maybe I won't have to do 12-hour days anymore. But now we both just do 12-hour days. So, all I've done is just added to her life and not really taken away from my own, because you always find stuff to fill your time with,
Yeah, that's a massive thing. I think there's always more to do. There's always more things to get involved into. And I see that you're quite heavily involved in Fnatic. It's been, what, 12, 14 months since you've started with them. How are you finding it? Are you still really enjoying it? Are you finding that Fnatic are giving you the help that you need? Are they adjusting to like how your content is evolving?
Yeah. I mean, we can go on about this one for days, because they picked me up at a really interesting time, because even though they didn't necessarily sign me as a COD creator, like obviously I was doing COD back then. That's when I think it was Vanguard not long came out. Oh, no, God bless Vanguard, man. Jesus Christ. So they picked me up at a rough time of COD multiplayer, like pubs and all that kind of stuff. And I think when I was with them, they supported me through my hardest year of content yet, in terms of like I said, a lot of the stuff that I went through. So not even just like as a creator for them, but I think as somebody who's like super just loving and loyal to the brand, to see how much respect they treated me even when I was at my lowest and wasn't really sure what kind of creator, like, I just scared the life out of me. What sort of like content I wanted to, I was like, what the hell was that? It was Neefy behind me, like shouting at me or something. But yeah, just like not being sure of like what content I wanted to create, not really sure what I wanted to do. Heck, I even went for a period in my head that I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do this anymore last year. And at no point they were like, yeah, well, you know what? Been a great year. See you later. We're sorry about that. You're going through all of this, but end of the day, we're a tier 1 org and we got to make our money back. It's been insane, actually. They supported me through all of that. Love the team, love the brand, and this, I guess we'll call this a podcast exclusive, but currently in the process of talking about a signature. So that hopefully will be this year. And yeah, I can't really fault them, to be honest. It's just really unfortunate that they don't compete in any games that I play. Because we have literally just picked up 4 Teamfight Tactics players. We're picking up an Overwatch 2 team, and we just picked up a Street Fighter player. So we now compete in basically every single game apart from the ones that I play. So I'm basically over here holding it down for the entire arena shooter scene for Fnatic, because I don't think we even have really anyone over here apart from a couple of Warzone creators. So yeah,
and we've got a few Valorant as well, I think.
Yeah, but that's not really in the arena shooter, right? That's more in the attack shooters. So yeah, in terms of like, let's say Halo, COD, XD, all the like traditional arena shooters, it's basically just me. But they never kind of like look at that and be like, look, you need to sort it out. You need to start playing Valorant or you're gone. Because they said that, I'm like, sorry guys, this ain't gonna work for me, But yeah, no, the relationship is solidified. I do a lot for them, they do a lot for me, and it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like I don't even really think about it anymore. It's just part of life now, and I think that's what's quite nice about it, So.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Noctem.
Yeah,
we're not a team 1 org yet.
Yet.
Exactly. Yet.
I mean, I guess on that, what is it actually like being with such a big org? Like, what are the sort of opportunities that you get that people might not see, or like the content that doesn't get released and stuff like that?
Well, first I get paid, so that's a good start. Obviously being on a contract is good. I think for my own personal CV, I think it shows validity for me as well, that I can hang at that level. And to be like potentially getting a recontract is massive as well, because it just shows like I wasn't just pulled on for a year, then see you later, off you go. It's kind of like, actually, we really value you now, and we want to keep you here. So that again just builds into more validity. I think even the way they picked me up, I think, was a really interesting one. I don't know if many people know about this story, but I was originally meant to be have been brought on for a new YouTube show that they were doing that never actually started. And then we just kept in touch, and I kept saying how much I loved the brand, and they kept saying how much they liked the content, and then they ended up signing me as a creator, which was never meant to be the actual thing behind it. So it's kind of crazy how it all started, really. But I think, yeah, just my relationship with my partnership manager really helps. JB really looks after me if I ever need anything, or always gets me involved in like content, days down at HQ. And yeah, like I said, it just feels like it's part of the life now, if that makes sense. So just having that as part of my life, and just being able to, just grow alongside them is great.
On the you mentioned the HQ there. Have you been to the new HQ?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sick.
What's it like?
Oh,
Yeah, it's sick. Like, I couldn't believe. Like, I went to their old HQ as well because that's when I was first kind of in talks with them. But their new HQ is mad. Like, it's like a massive studio. You go in downstairs and there's like areas upstairs. You've got like filming rooms, shoot rooms. They've just got. It's what you would expect really for a team of this caliber. I mean, they're what 20 years old this year, so for where they are in terms of their position, their esports kind of like foothold and where they stand in the UK, it doesn't surprise. Well, it does surprise me that it took them this long to have a studio like that. But yeah, no, it's great. It's a really nice place.
and what opportunity would you say with Fnatic that you found like the most fun or the one that you most thrived in?
I really like it when they get me on their activation. So I've been doing some stuff with Sony InZone recently on Fortnite because Sony create a lot of their own maps. So I do like some promotion for that. I like the stuff that we did with Chill Blast as well. So going down to HQ, like building some PCs, doing some content shoots on regards to that. I think with Fnatic, I think it would be even closer if they did compete in the games that I play because obviously there is like that, kind of like disconnect there slightly. But I know we've recently also got back into another game that I don't play, Rainbow Six. But I'm good friends with a lot of people on that on that roster. So even though I don't necessarily play it, there is more of a tie there that I could probably get involved with the creators there. So that's something we're definitely looking at. And yeah, I mean, if we ever do get into COD or Halo again, I'll be punching the air, man. So we'll wait and see what happens. They're not exactly to thrive in esports at the moment, but we'll see what happens in future and we'll go from there. So
Well, the next COD's looking promising, so
yeah,
maybe the next one. Who knows?
I've been saying that since
The last 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I mean, what is crazy as well is that the number one EU Halo team right now isn't even signed. So I've been trying to get that link together for a while, but as far as I know, as far as I know from what we know, it's like if there's no world championship, I don't think we have that much of an interest, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Halo's a bit of a Halo esports is it's very much a shadow of what it was, unfortunately. So
hey, you could say the same about COD, right? No open ecosystem,
yeah.
Fnatic were quite big in COD as well, right?
Yeah, and in Halo. So it's a real shame, to be honest. They literally dropped the team as I got signed. So
no.
yeah, I know you couldn't make it
a
up.
reflection of you, or
maybe they're like, maybe the team was like, look, I saw you pick Stallion up, right? We're off ski. It's been a fun run. I managed to get the skin in Halo. I think a few weeks before they dropped it out because you can't get it now. So that was quite lucky, but yeah, unfortunate, but is what it is, isn't it?
It was such a cool skin as well.
I know, I love mine. I'm so glad I got it, bro, because I'd be gutted if I never managed to get it.
There is one. I don't think I've seen you play it, but Apex, like Fnatic have got a good team in Apex, right? But they are they're Japanese, right? So
yeah.
I guess it's a lot harder for you to make content in that game if you were interested.
Yeah, it's not so much because I think the tie would be there if one, if they speak English, and two, like I played it. But the thing with me, I think that comes down to what I said at the start of this is, and I guess this is probably a reflection of why I haven't kept up numbers to what a lot of other creators have, or like why I wasn't at where I was at with lockdown, is because I really struggle to play things that aren't consistent adrenaline games. Like I've tried things, and again, this comes down to the ADHD side of things, right? I've tried Warzone, I've tried Apex, even Resurgence, right? There's just something about it where it's like it doesn't give you the click that multiplayer does. That's unfortunately where I kind of got left behind a little bit, because I've just, rather than adapting, I guess you could say, and moving to these, new genre of games where everybody wants to see, I don't find the fulfillment from that. And it's a real shame, to be honest, because if I did, probably would have seen a lot more success. But at least I know to myself that I'm never going to fake it. And it is what it is. I'm just begging arena shooters, get it together. XD, I'm looking at you next week, So I know full well, at least in my heart, whatever I'm at to where I used to be, that I am playing what I really enjoy, and I'll always give my 100% rather than being like, right, I'm gonna move to this game purely for the numbers and just fake it until I figure this out. I can't do it because you can just tell. I have that adrenaline fix that I need, and if I don't get it from a game, it just doesn't happen for me. So
and it reflects in the content and on the stream as well, doesn't it? People can tell that
100%.
It's not something that you're enjoying.
A little caveat to that then. I'm going to challenge you on something.
Go on.
You play a lot of Fortnite.
Yes, because right. So here we go. So Fortnite is the only BR I make an exception for because it was the first one I ever played. I played it not long after release, and well, to be fair, I was on and off Fortnite for a long time because I even did get bored of that. It's zero builds that brought me back more because it's a lot more run and gun, right? So, and I think the thing with Fortnite is they kind of figured out the kind of like the macro in it as well. So like even when you're not in fights, it's one of those visual games where there's always something going on, whether you're looting, whether you're, moving around the map, whereas some games I find that have a lot of quiet space. So I find with Fortnite, even when during the quiet space, I'm either finding myself doing something or like pushing towards teams because you've got like the hit marker reg things, right? You can hear people firing like across the map, and that's good for me because it's like it kicks the adrenaline in my head to go right. Time to go W key these guys. You know what I mean? It's not like pointlessly just running around trying to find people. So I think that's why Fortnite just about holds me. But in terms of BRs, that is about as far as I go. I've tried Warzone, bro. I got so bored so quickly. And then I've tried Resurgence, and even that, it's just like it's just not multiplayer. But multiplayer is just in a little bit of the mud at the moment, isn't it? So roll on Black Ops 6 to the next one, right? Let's hope. So yeah, Fortnite is basically the only one I give an exception to, just because I've played it for so long and they added zero builds. So
yeah, it was one of my favorites as well. Like I tried to go pro in Fortnite, but it just didn't work.
That's one hell of a scene, mate, to try and go pro in, I tell you.
I mean, it was like right at the beginning, and like they were saying all of these tournaments were coming out, and I was waiting for it to be in January. So I took like a couple of months off work. I'm like, do you know what? Let's give it a go. And then the tournament didn't come around till like March, April, and I was like, I'm skint. I need to go back to work.
Did you never play in it in the end then, or what?
No, not to the level I could have done. But at the same time, like, you mentioned it earlier, where you have to enjoy it to be able to do it. And I realised that me sitting and playing scrims for like 8-9 hours a day is not what I found fun. Like 24, you're trying to make it pro in Fortnite, which is like 14-year-olds that are just
literally.
It's
and I think 8 to 9 hours even these days is generous, right? Because of how big the game has got and like just how many people want to make it. It's like you don't dedicate your entire day and life to it. It's a minimum now, And then if you want to get signed by an org, that's even more pressure, right? Because then if you don't perform,
content,
it's like
and streaming.
you get dropped, and then you get roped into content streaming because you need to grow the presence. So it's all that extra pressure. Esports is literally a life, isn't it? It's mad.
No hobbies around here.
No.
But that's it. Esports is the hobby, right?
It is life, mate. It is. It's life. That's why we love it. So.
Oh, I love it. And I guess, sorry, I realise every time I do these podcasts, like we jump around so much, but
all good.
It's the way my brain works.
Same.
Apologies. So lecturer.
Mm-hmm.
It's been nearly a whole year now, right? You've done a full school year.
Yeah.
What made you want to like get into helping inspire the next generation?
I think I've done like educational snips on my content for a long time. I think especially like during lockdown and COVID, I used to help motivate. It's kind of something a bit more like a therapist, but like I had to help a lot of people get through a lot of dark times during lockdown. Like some of the messages I would get were really deep. People were losing their minds, bro. Like, so I had to really make sure that I kept it together to make sure that I was supporting these people that were literally relying on streams to get by day because they couldn't physically leave their houses, right? So I think that and just like the ability to help people get to where they want in life is something I've always been interested in. The opportunity was really funny actually, because before I took my missus away from her full-time job, that's where she was. She was at Northampton doing marketing. And she told me that esports was really taking off in education. I mean, I knew it was somewhat, but I had no idea that it was already at uni level and it was really picking up. So she was like, oh, mate, just drop an email, see if, they're ever interested in doing a collab. Northampton's only on your doorstep. It doesn't hurt to try. And I'm not even joking you. It must have been within 2 hours. I sent them an email, just put my link tree down, said who I was, what I did, and all that kind of stuff. And within 2 hours, they were like, we'd really like to bring you in to do a guest lecture, because they had like a casting and streaming module. They're like, we think we can really add value to this. And I went and did that. And I think that was in 2022 when I first started doing AL work. I just got hooked because you can just see people who are, and especially in our industry, right? Like we said, we're very passionate in esports. We want to see our space grow. And you see these students come in. I don't really have much experience in our field. but they're like the next generation to go out into the field. So I feel like I'm helping to shape and mold the potential pioneers of what this field is going to look like. So I don't know. I just really like fell in love with it. I think it crosses over to live streaming a lot, just that public speaking kind of thing. Trying to be somewhat entertaining, making sure they don't fall asleep. And the thing I really like about Northampton is we don't do lectures. It's only class-based stuff. So it's very one-to-one, which is something I really like. Because if it was lectures, I probably wouldn't have been as serious. So, and then yeah, they were getting like double turnover every year. In fact, this year is the first time we're now bringing in 2 cohorts for esports. We had way over 100 applicants. So what started as our first years, which are graduating this year, we started with I think about 13. It then moved to 19. This current first year is like 28, and I believe next year we're doubling it to like over 50, which is more than some sport courses get. And that's after rejecting people. So like esports is blowing up, even in education. Like we're talking like 200% increase year on year, which is nuts for a very fresh industry, you could say. So it's just really cool to firstly be part of that, and secondly, it also helps fund a lot of the things that I do. Right, that's a part-time job for me now. It allows me to have, you know, my mortgage. It allows me to employ my missus. They really look after me there. You guys know, working in the public sector brings a lot of benefits as well. So yeah, working at Northampton was good. And if I'm honest, the opportunity came at the time when I was like mid-depression, so it could not have come around better. And I was looking for a bit of an exit out of full-time streaming because, as I said, I've got a mortgage now. I've got a lot of things to cover, and I didn't want to rely on my community for that anymore because it was not fair. And it was reflecting on me. Like I even started feeling myself get toxic at myself because it's like, you don't earn the money, who's going to pay the bills, right? How's it all going to work? And I didn't like feeling like that because it's not right to feel like that. And I was like, something has to give. So I went, look, guys, I know a lot of you probably won't appreciate this, but I need to go part-time. You have to understand, I've got a house now. I'm going to look to develop in other ways. And even though at first they were quite skeptical of it, they fully get it now. And I think it's, come around 360, it's much better now than it's ever been. So yeah, uni did a lot, not only for like experience, a foothold in a new industry, but also for helping me get out of a bit of a rut and try and build myself up in other ways.
Yeah, benefits each other, I guess.
It really does, yeah.
You can learn more from teaching, and you bring that time that you don't have in content. When you do come back to it, you put more effort in and you're more bubbly, and
exactly.
I feel like that definitely reflects when you have that break.
Yeah. Burnout is a real thing, especially in this space.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
So what is your like favorite part of being at uni with the I think are not, are they?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is just the public speaking part about it. I love the like my not my like program leader, but the person above her, she's called Emma. She's great. She's like super ADHD like me. So when we're talking, it's like real fast-paced conversations. And she calls me a pracademic, which is like my new phrase that I've got, because it's like not only am I teaching, I'm in the field, right? So they could have easily employed somebody who's got, let's say, like business expertise to wear a suit and talk to esports students about what it's like to be in our space, but they actually don't have any clue. They might know about business, but you need to be able to relate business to our field. So me having lived that and currently still living it brings a lot of like expertise. So I know that when I'm telling the students, this is what life is going to be like post uni, or they tell me I really want to get into content creation, what it's like, or they're asking me, how do I build a brand from scratch? I'm like drill sergeant. Like I tell them exactly as it is. I'm like, cut the BS. This is what you're going to have to be getting ready for. And I think that kind of stuff is invaluable for students coming out of it, because you don't want to paint this pretty picture where it's like, yeah, you'll leave uni and things will be really good and you'll get employed straight away and it's going to work. I'm like, look, you're probably not going to get employed. You're going to need a second, a part-time job. Think about building yourself up now. Start building up a little sub-brand for yourself. Be proactive, because then when you do come out of uni, you'll have that experience that other esports students won't have, So I think even little things like that, drilling that into like the first years, I think is going to really help them develop into second and third years, and just come out with the right mentality.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
So now you're on academic timing. I suppose you've got quite a long time off before you go back to lecturing. Do you have set plans now that you've got more time for content, or have you got to like prep certain things for the new academic year? What are your plans for this sort of summer break?
It's a bit of both. I mean, I'm also hoping to take a bit of a break. Like, I know, right? How rude, how dare I go on holiday? No, me and Ethan are going to Italy next month for 2 weeks, which I'm really
Oh,
excited
nice.
about. We haven't been on a proper holiday that isn't TwitchCon based in,
Yeah.
I think, like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's a first proper break since I started streaming, which is going to be nice. And so I did my last week of teaching last week, and I've got a lot of marking, unfortunately, but you know, it comes as part of the job. And then obviously building up what second year is going to be looking like for esports, but definitely getting a lot of my time back in a perfect time because obviously XD next week, right? First Descendant beta comes out next weekend. Fortnite drops a new season next week. So like there is a lot to be gained from the games that I currently cover. And in terms of content, this is where it's really good having a second party. Is that Nefi like has that under her kind of like bracket now? Like I still oversee the direction of content that we're doing. I think you two will appreciate this a lot. We're actually moving into for short form. The area that we're really sticking to now is kind of like S&D, kind of like trolley content, because taking some inspiration from some great content creators that do this kind of content, and it's just one, very easy to watch. Two, something that I really enjoy doing because I already work in this kind of like field. And three, an area that I can really see myself building on because for the first time in a while, I don't actually feel like I'm forcing myself to do content. When I go into these lobbies, I'm either putting on a voice changer or I'm trolling. And it makes some of the stuff that I've been hearing, I'm like, this is going to bang. Like, this has got to go viral because some of the people that you meet. So having that and then being able just to record that and pass it on, and Nefi to like package that with our team is great because it takes a lot of the pressure off me now. So I think over the summer, just going back to the original question, building up on that, remaining consistent because over the last 6 months, we have changed a lot. That's for two reasons. One, to figure out what I enjoy, and two, to get Nefi up to scratch on what content looks like. Because the ultimate goal is have her run all the content and me run all the front facing stuff. Because if we can get that done and we can do that effectively, it's going to be nuts. Because we'll have videos going out every day. We'll have that front facing kind of brand representation. It's just right now, it's just getting the puzzle together. So yeah, this summer's going to be a busy one. A lot of things to experiment with, but yeah, really excited about it.
Nice to have some time back and definitely use it to relax as well as get the content
well,
pump going.
you should know. Yeah, you should know better than anyone that word relax gets thrown around in our space that never really gets seen. Let's be honest. But we're also getting a dog this year, which is exciting.
Be prepared, puppy or?
Oh yeah, we're getting him as a puppy, but he's going to be massive. We're going for a big doggo. Yeah, so looking forward to that.
Cute.
That's gonna be his bed right there when he's born. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bernese before, but they are the most
dog.
Yeah, the mountain dogs. Yeah, we're getting a Bernese. Yeah, so basically we're gonna create him in his own TikTok and his own Instagram, and he's gonna get me famous. So that's no, we are gonna get him to be a bit of a content dog. I think it's gonna be really cute. That way, he's really involved in our lives as well. So we got these cool little plans coming up in the future. Should be sick.
Cute.
Can't wait.
If you had to think of a name right now that you would call a mountain dog a boy,
we already got it. It's going to be Caesar because I've got well, it was between Caesar and Hercules because I love Roman culture as it's stamped on my arms, as you can see, and I actually have Julius Caesar there.
Cute.
So when we said we were going to get a mountain dog, we were like, it has to be like a big dog alpha name, right? So she was like, what do you think about Hercules? She was like, oh, I don't really know. I was like, what about Caesar? She's like, I love it. There we go. Caesar is.
Are we preempting it being covered with like a little dog head, or is
what, Caesar's face?
Yeah.
No, this is Julius, man. I can't do that to him. That's crazy. That's
the dog's more important.
Listen, I'll Photoshop it for a picture.
Yeah,
that'll be enough.
That's enough.
Deal. Do you guys have any pets?
Yeah, mine's currently hidden. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh wait, no, you have got. You've got. Show me.
This gap right here is where mid podcast, I just panicked because I was like, "Oh, you're gonna be able to see him," but mid podcast, he's jumped under the duvet.
Oh,
like wait.
I think I've seen you share your pet before on Twitter.
He's like.
It's not a bunny, is it? Is it?
No, it's a kitten. He's
Oh,
just
I know a
hidden
few
in
people that
the
have got buddies.
duvet. Yeah. No, he just every time if the duvet's up, he'll just burrow under it and just
Oh,
fly around on the bed.
sounds like Neefy.
Yeah, his name's Mowgli.
Yeah, I've got a little Rory. She's actually gone out with a dog walker now, which is great.
Oh.
But she's a Tibetan Terrier. She's chaos, but absolutely adore having a dog. Like gets you out of the house. Like
Yeah.
Maybe Rory, Mowgli, and Caesar could have a little meet up.
Oh my god, yes. Can we have like an animal party? That'd be lit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
100%.
Write that one down. Don't forget.
Stay down.
I should seriously like make a TikTok for Rory. I think
You should.
Missing
How
out
have
on a
you
trick.
not already done that? Like, you know,
I've got
like
so
animal
many
content
videos.
is the most watched in the world, right? So like, it's like a cheat code.
It's like, how can I link this back to Noctem? That's the main question.
Yeah, it's
Her
like a
name's
jersey,
Noctem
mate.
Rory. It's fine. You just need to get Mowgli and Rory little jerseys, and it'll be fine.
Yes.
This
Or
is
like a
like
neck beef.
I think such a like money making idea, yeah, that no esports team, as far as I'm aware, has made the most of yet, and that is pet products.
Yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah.
get yourself a dog T-shirt, like you say that.
Mate, I might be in Fnatic, but if you start selling dog t-shirts, I'm gonna get Caesar one. I'm not joking. Like,
Yeah.
please make that happen. That's sick.
Because I reckon like that's like $1 million idea, right? You could do it internally and then like do it for other brands as well.
Yeah. There you go.
Mine's
Sorted.
always ticking, you know.
It's a definite. Guys on the box watching the podcast, don't steal our idea. Thanks.
Yeah, fuck. All right, so we've touched on this a bit already, but you make content across multiple games, yeah? What is the most fun at the moment that you get from making content, and what game is it?
Yeah, so this is where I was just mentioning about where we're homing down, right? So the last 6 months, I'm gonna be honest with you, has been a shit show. Not necessarily in terms of like, I say it kind of like not knowing what we're doing, because content is always a changing game, right? So we needed to have just some time, one, to get Neefy up to speed, and me to really figure out what I want to do in terms of content before we start homing down. So the reason that I was mentioning to you about this kind of like trolley lobby content is, one, because I personally enjoy watching it, and I think that's where I was really lacking in my own stuff. Is I was making stuff just off the whim. I wasn't really going off of like content that I enjoy seeing or content that I see do like really well or whatever. So we tried loads of different stuff. But for short form, we are nailing down to this particular idea of going in, being a personality under a second account, whether it's voice changing, whether it's scenario building, storytelling, whatever, and just turning it fun. I think that's the factor I was missing a lot in a lot of my content. Was a lot of it was very serious. Some of it did really good in views, but I think it was missing that fun factor. So that's my short form strategy now. That is not going to be changing. And if it does, put a gun to my head, because I've done changing strategies. But again, I guess like a podcast reveal is I am starting a secret long form project that is going to be not just done off of the bat, but it's going to be very research intensive before I start it, and done with a group of people that have got proven experience in long form videos. Because if you know what you're doing in the YouTube long form world, it pays off massively.
Yeah.
And I don't want to double guess long form, because it's a beast in itself. So short form, I'm very happy just to kind of learn as I'm going along. But long form, I want to make sure that I have the right team behind me, and I've surrounded myself with that now. And my job for the next kind of 4 weeks between me and Ethan is just research, looking at the kind of niche that we're going to be going into, find out where the gaps are, and really look to utilize that. And a year down the line, I'd hope to be holding that plaque and earning enough from it to at least pay her wage. And the goal from long form, I mean, it can earn you a stupid amount of money if you do it right. And I think having the right team behind that, rather than just guessing it, is going to be important. So TBC on that one. When we start putting some videos out, I'll make sure to share my findings and let you know what we've got going on.
Definitely. I think that's a big thing to bring in as well. Like, YouTube's a massive industry, and I was at the Logitech masterclass not that long ago, and that's all they were talking about is like, you can handle YouTube, you can handle anything. Like, short form's up and coming, but like you said, short form you can juggle, you can put like quantity and quantity out, and it doesn't really matter that much. You'll still get the views, you'll still bring people in, people will still find your account. But with long content, long form, right, it's quality based. People aren't going to sit and watch a 25-minute video if it's not got the quality. So you have to adjust the different types of content that you're making, and that's definitely something that a lot of research is needed for. So
Yeah.
it definitely sounds like you've got a good plan, and hopefully we see some Stally long content soon.
Yeah, excited for it. Not to even mention to make videos that people actually want to see as well, right? It's never
Yeah,
about like
exactly.
making video. You can make a video about what you want to make it about, but who cares? Like you've got
Yeah.
to find the gaps. You've got to
There's
find out
only
where
one
people aren't doing
you,
it. Exactly.
whereas
So,
people might like something similar to what you like, but
yeah,
not quite the exact niche that you're thinking of.
yeah, 100%.
So if you had to choose one piece of content that you've ever made in your entire career, what is your favorite one?
God, you just throwing me under the bus today. God, favorite piece of content. Again, content's hard for me because it's never been something that I'm massively passionate about. But again, it's something that I know I need to do. And do you
Maybe
know what?
something like a stream, or like a particular stream or a particular video, or
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be fully honest with you, I think we really have cracked it with the concept with what I'm doing now, because there are several reasons why I feel like we've done that. One, because I mean, you guys will know this. S&D lobbies are gold mines. Like, I mean, I knew they were gold mines, but they are like gold mines for content. And I can go in there, I can get several videos done, pass it on, and then I've got content banked, right? Potentially
yeah,
for weeks. Whereas when I was doing a lot of like news stuff, even though news is great, the two things about news that worries me is one, people don't usually care about me. It's more about the info that I'm giving. And
yeah,
two, you have to be hot on it. And like everyone's doing news now because it's easy, right? You just report on what it is that you're doing. So I kind of shot myself in the foot moving away from news, because it was like, I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but for me, it was like, it was getting me really good viewership, but I felt like nobody cared about me. And ultimately, it was like, well, what's the point in doing it then if that's going to be the case? I might as well just be a news reporter, right? So I think, coming back to the original question, that what I'm doing now, even though I've just started it, from what I've been doing over the last few weeks in the gameplay and the recording, and I guess just how the whole process is going to work, so that it's not like, oh, this piece of info is just dropped, I need to now go make a video on it. The videos now go at my pace, right? Which works a lot better for how my life is. So, and I know from watching a few other creators that are in this space, kind of like the S&D troll content, it goes mad. Like, people love it. Like, it's so trolly, it's really easy to watch. If you can build the right personality, find the right people, it absolutely bangs. So I know the consistency is also there. And then not to mention that I can do it across multiple games. It doesn't have to just be COD, could be XD. We've always got a new COD coming out every year, right? So you know it's also going to be sustainable. It basically ticks every box for me.
yeah. And you're always going to
So
have toxic players in the lobbies, right? So
exactly.
it's
And it's just the
it's
way that you can
long
manipulate
lasting.
those and turn it into videos. Yeah. So I mean, not even just toxic, like some of the stuff that people are saying. I've had like couples in my lobby from like America just talking about like dick sizes and stuff, and just the most random shit. So yeah, look, I really enjoyed the recording of it. I think this is the first time in a long time I actually enjoy going in there, making videos, and then thinking, you know what, I actually can't wait to see what this looks like when it's done. Whereas before
Yeah,
it was like, I'm just doing it because I knew I had to do it, you know? So it's a good
that
feeling.
passion behind it
Yeah,
definitely makes the
massively.
difference.
Amazing. And like the next thing I wanted to touch on was that CreatorGG.
Mm,
You guys you've been working with them for a while now, doing creator
yeah.
experiences, right?
Yeah. So Creator is a passion project that started from Paul, if you know him, last year. He reached out to me not long whilst I was in my depression phase, actually. He caught me at a bad time, to say the very least. I think it was probably around June, July, yeah, when I was like right in the middle of my head fuck. And he just said to me, look, this is what we got going on. I want to challenge the current ecosystem, which I love. And that is what I'm always looking to do in this space. You know, it was we had hours of discussion about how it's the very top, you know, 0.1% of creators that get all the best deals and they make all the money, and you know, the other 99% of creators don't really get that much of a sniff at what's going on. And you know, talking about how brands look at things not necessarily in the wrong way, but a very traditional one-dimensional way, where it's all about the numbers this and the numbers that, where actually you could have somebody with half a following that actually has a stronger community and has more pushing power. So it's changing that mind and mentality. And you know, when he was talking to me about it, because funnily enough, he's also very ADHD brained and he works all day every day. So I felt like I was talking to myself, right? So me and him really bounce off each other really well. And like, he started with nothing with creators. Creators started with zero. He didn't know no one in the space. And he said, look, I need somebody to help build this up and anchor off, you know, if you're passionate behind it. And I said, look, mate, I ain't doing this for the money, although I can see this is going to make some serious money in the future. Maybe not now. People might not accept it still for what it is. But when people start to really realize the power of unmonopolizing a market and teaching brands what it's really about, oh my God, it's going to open doors, because there are billions of creators, right? And there's so many people that don't even get a sniff at an opportunity because as a brand, you just pay an agency, they go and pull in some big guy and that's it. It's done. You don't even know the process behind it. So I absolutely love what he's doing, how he's challenged the market. And I said, look, get me involved, whatever that is. Started working with him for a couple of weeks, couple of months, started building up Creator to what it is now. I like to call myself the devil on the shoulder for him. So he'll come to me and he'll be like, this is what's happened. Here's where we're talking about some potential investment or some new opportunities. I'm like, right, cool. But have you thought about X, Y, and Z? He's like, you know what? Yeah, actually didn't really think about it that way. So it's good for me to be there because I will represent content creators. Like if I feel like someone's trying to pull the wool over his eyes to get in a favorable position, I'll be like, no, like creators always come first. And I think that's what's going to be really popular with Creator going forward is that one, they fit into basically the back end of any brand out there because of the way the process works. And two, it's the whole industry is on this side of the line and we're on this side of the line and everybody's screaming at us, go away, stop trying to change it. But slowly but surely people start crossing that line because they realize what's there. And eventually the plan is to have that side of the line as powerful as this one. So, you know, your big creators are still going to get their big deals, obviously, because that's always going to happen. But there's going to be more of a open market approach where if you are a good creator and you do have good pulling power, you'll get that good opportunity that you deserve at whatever scale that looks like. So sometimes a lot of it is looking at the micro, not just the macro, and realizing that 10, 100 viewer streamers is much more effective than 1,000 viewer streamer, you know? So when you look at it in that format, it opens up a lot of different doors. So yeah, long story short, I love what they're doing. Wish I had more time to put into it, but you know, I'm kind of there as a
Second perspective, kind of.
You could say second perspective, kind of like a director, yeah, just to say this is what I think about this. This is where I think we should go at, and you know, I take his opinion for gold, he takes mine for gold, and we have that level of respect for each other. And I think that's why Creator has really done a lot in 6 months with literally nothing, really. So
it started only recently, and I feel like they've done quite a lot.
Yeah, he's an animal. Like I think I always say that I think I work hard. That he's different gravy, man. He's up at stupid o'clock. I swear he never sleeps. I don't know how he does it. But yeah, to have that passion and to see what he wants to do for that side of the industry, like I always said to him, it doesn't matter about the money on that side of things, man. I want to see change in this field. So yeah, it's great. It's great to see that creators will have that representation, because I feel like our industry, man, even though we're at 2024 now, it's still the Wild West. There's no like legislation. There's no governing bodies. You basically come into content and then you've got to figure it out yourself. There's no like, there's no like gold standard, is there? There's no, here's the group that you should become part of to help to get you. There's none of that. So it's helping to build that.
No one has a template of what you should do and shouldn't do. It completely depends on the person and what content you want to produce. Yeah, it's a free for all. It's definitely stuff.
Yeah, and I think in some ways not having a template is good, but I think having tools there available to educate and provide opportunity is what's seriously missing in our field now, because nobody wants to know until they want to know, you know. And again, that's kind of also life, but I think with how big our industry is, there's no excuse that creators don't get more of a shot rather than it always going to the same very small percentage of people.
Yeah, the same thing happens with esports teams as well, right?
Yeah.
Your top tier teams get hundreds of millions over 5 years. So your smaller brands that are doing the work, like they need to work harder for it. But I also think, you know, it teaches you a bit of resilience that you need in order to be able to deliver when it comes to it.
Yeah.
100%. And speaking of like what's going on with CreatorGG, do you know of anything, maybe a little leak or like a little bit of information that you know of, like where's the direction of their plans going?
Oh man, I can't give any info, but like it's pretty crazy. The conversations I've had with Paul over the last 2 weeks is crazy. What I can say is that people very much are noticing. We're talking like high-end people as well, that are really just kind of looking at what that process looks like and if it's done properly, the impact that it can make on our industry. Definitely. I think all it needed was somebody to challenge the norm and to not back down when the norm constantly tries to kick it back down, because these agencies will keep doing what they're doing unless somebody comes in and changes it, right? Whereas if you start getting that competition to come in, then the agencies suddenly go, well, actually, maybe we need to start catering to other creators, because now brands now want this. Brands now want 10 to 15 creators who can do the same job as one, but split down in like a lower CCV, because they realize actually between that you hit more of a demographic and a higher pulling power. So that's where I think it's really good that we're getting a bit of a shift in mindset, because it's been, and like you said, Jack, it's been the same way for a long time, right? And I think it's not till the last couple of years where anyone's even tried to change it. So
competition's always good.
Yeah, it really is.
I guess moving on to the next thing, I know, like, creator, you're obviously really passionate about it, but something I've seen you be really passionate about as well recently is casting.
Yeah, love it. Like, it's one of those. Casting's a weird one because it's something I've toyed with for a long time, but it's never really had the time to do it. I think having Nefi on board has opened up that space a little bit, which I think is crazy to say because I never really have any time. But it's put me into an avenue where, rather than constantly trying to do what I know I'm not good at, content, to kind of offload that to people who are going to take more of a serious look around it and play on my strengths instead, which is being in front of a camera, thinking on the spot, people entertaining, all of that kind of stuff. I think casting is a very natural progression from streaming, right? Because a lot of it is about how to entertain a crowd, keep people watching. And I feel like, particularly in the arena shooter world, you need to have that energy in a caster. And I got really lucky actually with the EHL, the European Halo League. If you've seen me talk to them or about them at all on the timeline, that the guy who's the director of the company behind them, Atlas, is somebody who watches my streams regularly. So when I put my CV in, straight away I just got a message in caps like, bro, like, did you know that I am so and so for Atlas? And I was like, I had no idea. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, we want your energy on the casts. And it's been great, man. Like, I just casted my first stream with over 1,000 viewers the other day, which was awesome. I've done a couple of EU HCS Open Grand Finals. So, getting to cast teams like Quadrant, Foe, some of the best European Halo teams out there. And I'm shooting my shot everywhere, man, whether it's Challengers, CDL. The goal for me long term, because, I understand it's its own industry and deserves its own respect, is to keep building up my name in there. Them to understand that I'm not just a caster, but I'm an all-round brand. So bringing a name, hopefully like myself, on could give their institution a lot more than just, let's say, a caster. But yeah, I mean, the goal is either HCS or CDL, 1,000,000%, if I get the time and experience for it, because that's very, very long term. For now, I just do casting for fun. It's great for my CV, and if any paid opportunities come out from it, that would be wicked. I am going to say this. My mate Steve is getting married on the 24th, which I'm annoyed about, because that day, the guys organising the EHL, because we've got HCS London this month, they're actually organising a massive LAN down in London, and they wanted me to come down and be the hype man. But my friend is selfishly getting married, and if I don't go, it's like, I grew up with him. I can't really sack him off to go to a Halo event. You know what I mean? But
you definitely can.
Trust me, I've toyed with the idea. He would end me.
Turn up at the honeymoon, it'll be all right.
Yeah, so I'm kind of gutted on that, but it's good to see, like, the opportunities are coming. It's really cool getting the opportunity to cast in grand finals is sick, and just gonna work my way up and see where it goes. I'm gonna keep shooting my shot, and hopefully I get a foothold in the COD scene at some point, because it's another game that I'm massively passionate about. I think that will help a lot after the summer is done, because I'm gonna start getting my weekends back, because currently weekends are chalked. You know how summer is, right?
Yeah.
But the goal in future is, when the next couple of weeks and months are done, is that weekends are going to become part of my normal schedule, and Monday, Tuesday is going to be the replacement for that. So I will be a lot more available for things like casting, streaming at peak times and that. And yeah, so just got to get summer out of the way first.
So I know you've already mentioned like CDL and things, but if you could pick any game in the entire world, you've got full knowledge, maximum capacity to do their main event, what game are you casting?
You know what? Just because of the state of how COD is right now, like, I don't know if you two are into Halo or watch Halo, but they're freaks, man. Firstly, the way the game visually looks. Two, it's a very fun game to cast because it's a proper arena shooter, right? We're talking like spawn manipulations, like utility on the map. It's not like COD in a way of, yeah, you've got games like Search and Destroy, but a lot of the time it's like, you know, slay, spawn, rotate. There's not that much extra stuff in there. There's no like utility. A lot of it comes down to gunny and map knowledge, right? Whereas Halo, you've got this whole extra element of, you have to put 4 shots in the body and 1 to the head to kill someone. You've got grapplers. You've got, you know, you've got that extra element of outplay and potential. So even though, unfortunately, the industry is what it is for the Halo world right now, I'm really glad I got a foothold in the Halo scene because that Infinite is a goddamn lot of fun to cast. And you see these pros doing mental things which makes me scream at the mic. So I think for my energy, the games that I really enjoy, I think definitely Halo right now, but if we're talking like peak COD back in the day, like jetpacks and stuff, that would have been nuts. So
From what
yeah.
you're saying, it sounds like you actually would really enjoy Apex. I think from the whole like grappling and the out skill use and stuff, I feel like you actually would quite enjoy it.
I respect Apex a lot because of the mechanics behind it, and I actually really like watching the pro scene. I went to ALGS with Fnatic last year to go watch an absolute cluster of a tournament where TSM brought it back. So I really respect it. I do actually like watching the pro scene. I don't have the patience to play it. It's that game where you land, you've got to loot up, you've got to find people. I can't bother, bro. Just chuck me in an arena, just let me shoot stuff. I either want to be spawn killing someone or be spawn killed. I don't care about that whole in between process. So I mean, I guess you could call me really old school for that, but that's just what I was raised on. So yeah, I don't know, that kind of like in the middle quiet moment is what just kills it for me. But if there was an arena a BR that I didn't play that wasn't Fortnite, it would be Apex. That'd be probably the only other one that I would consider ever, even though the skill gap in that game is bonkers.
It's crazy.
So yeah.
Amazing. Right, I know we're nearly at an hour now, and we try and keep these to an hour. So let's go with some goals. What are the goals for the Stallion brand for the next sort of 6, 12, 18 months?
I think our industry is changing a lot. So I try and not put down too much in like, what's the word for it? Like too many like goals, like in gold, let's say. Because even like this time last year, if you told me that I wouldn't be full-time streaming next year, I'd be like, why? I've been doing it for 5 years. Not to realize that the month after this, I would be falling deep into depression. I needed a change. So like, 12, 18 months, I think some of the key parts that really need to get built is that consistent content. That's number one. I want to start really earning some money from YouTube long form, and I have the right teaching team behind me now that are going to help me do that. It's going to be a slow burn, but you know we'll get there. Long story on that. So between content, that's that covered. So anything in between that, whether it's teaching, streaming, casting, that's just going to be taking opportunities as they come. Consistently proven to Fnatic that I am a good fit for the brand, that I am still here, because that obviously helps keep my head above water as well. And yeah, man, just taking on any opportunities possible in our space, because it's changing really quickly. And I think now it's changing even faster because of things like AI, the way that YouTube, TikTok, the way that they battle against each other. So they're constantly trying to add stuff. Heck, if we look even 5 years ago, Twitch had no competition in the live streaming space. Look at it now. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. So in 12 months, God knows, a whole new platform might come in, sweep everybody off and blow up, right? So for me, it's just maintaining consistency in all of those fields. But even though it's kind of like not my main focus, I know for my brand and for numerics and the numbers, content needs to get back to where I know it can be. So that is kind of like my highest pillar. No pressure, Neefy, by the way. So yeah, I know how important that side of the field is, because the more faces on me through things like TikTok and YouTube, the more that my brand get exposed out there. So yeah, I think it's just maintaining consistent. Don't get down on times where things aren't quite hitting numbers that I want. I think that one's a really big one as well. And just not giving up. I think just being appreciative of the position I'm in now, I think is hard for all of us to do. I've got better with that though. Just sitting there and just thinking about the last couple of years and where we've come to and how hard we've worked. I'm always that guy where it's like, man, if I'm not up here, I'm depressed, you know, and that's what I think got me really depressed last year. Whereas now it's like, okay, this video sucked. This didn't do well. I've had a really bad couple of weeks of streams. Fine. Brush it off. Let's learn from that. Let's be appreciative of what I've currently got, because these people are people, not just numbers behind me, you know, and they want to support me in everything I do. So, you know, satisfy that, but build on it.
But if you say little Stally started again from scratch,
I thought you were asking me if there's going to be a little Stally there.
No.
I was like, hell no.
No, stay as a little Stally back 6 years ago, wants to be a content creator. What is 2 pieces of advice that you would give him, and 1 thing that you think every single creator needs to do?
TikTok is not a dancing app. Ignore anybody who says that from the very, very start. Still wish I got on it earlier, and still wish I utilized it a lot more during lockdown. Those two I could have double, if not triple, the following of there what I have now, but I always prioritize live streaming because what I enjoy doing. And yet it did bring me some good growth and, you know, sustained me a lot for a while. Long term, that content is where it should have been. So I shot myself in the foot with that. So definitely content, because the industry is going to flip on its head in the 6 years that I've done it. Number 2, don't be so dedicated to arena shooters. I mean, that's even me now, though, bro. Like, honestly, if I just like sucked it up and could just adapt, I could have moved on to a very viral game a long time ago. But it just isn't for me. So I don't know about that one, to be fair. Just trying to think, really. I think consistency. Consistency is the most important thing, because the moment you tell everyone, right, I'm hanging up my shoes, I'm done, don't want to do this no more, and you go away for like 2-3 weeks, then you start thinking, oh, do you know what? Actually, I kind of had it quite good. I kind of might have messed up here going all in because I wasn't getting my way on certain things. And then you come back and then expect everybody to be as it was. It's like,
yeah,
that's not how it's going to be. And even though I didn't necessarily do that to like a nuclear scale last year, I made some decisions in 2023 where if I could grab hold of me last year, I would knock myself out, because when I was depressed, I made a lot of bad decisions between moving streaming platforms and doing this and doing that, kind of fucking around my community a little bit, because I was desperate to cling on to the full-time life that I had, not realizing that actually it wasn't my community's fault. It wasn't my fault. It's actually just the way the industry is moving. But I couldn't see it at the time. I was so buried in the numbers, I couldn't see it. So like, rather than just taking everything and blaming myself, it's like understanding the way that things are moving and being able to adapt to that. It's where I think I really fucked it last year. So I'm still playing cleanup a little bit, still getting consistent, still getting back on it. But yeah, hey, you can't have 6 years with it being perfect, right? I had to F up somewhere, and last year I effed up big time. So this year is currently clean up, content back on track, being consistent and building. So
I love that. And I think it's testament to you as well, like the fact that you can adapt, because a lot of people would have just given up, right? They're like,
100%.
It's hard. Like, the whole industry is hard. Like, having to put in so much work, like come up with new ideas all the time, and try and change the way that people perceive you at times as well, right?
Yeah.
But like,
I think even being able to admit it as well, Jack, because last year, I don't know what happened to me, but even just like I gained even like this kind of weird ego that I just don't have. And I blamed basically everything but myself. And it was like, it wasn't until I like came out the other side where I was like, actually, it was just me creating my own depression cesspit in my head, where it really wasn't as bad as I thought. Yeah, sure, I still could have quit full-time streaming, but I could have done things in a lot different ways. It could have been a lot smoother, rather than just creating this ego, being like, nah, my content is good. It's just, you know, there's this problem, or these streams are doing good, but no one appreciates it. I just got in this really weird ego bubble for a bit, and I don't know why. That's just because that isn't me at all. So yeah, I guess when you constantly see growth and then you finally hit that stagnation, it can do really weird shit to you, because you're not used to not having that consistent growth. So it taught me a hell of a lot, man. And I think you need that.
A learning curve. Like, you use that for everything that you go through next time, and it won't ever be like that the same way again if you can learn from a situation. So
yeah, I think admitting it is one of the biggest things. I think if you just constantly beat around the bush and say it's not you, it's this, that's where you've effed it. And you know, it took me a couple of months to get out of that phase and just really get back on it. But I was like, do you know what? It was me. I did fuck it up. And thankfully, I didn't nuke my entire brand from being an ungrateful little twat that I was last year. So yeah, just getting that mindset back in. I think gym has helped with that a lot as well. Training and bringing Nefi onto the brand, because if I even get a sniff of starting to go down a tunnel, mate, she will like chain me and yank me back out. So having that support system now is massive. Having somebody to reflect off of rather than have to take it all on my shoulders, because I think that's where I was going wrong as well. Is it was all on my shoulders and I didn't have no one to reflect with, and I just drove myself into a hole. So
Yeah, I love the fact that you're so open about it as well.
yeah, I think you've got to be, bro.
Yeah, because
Yeah, definitely.
there's probably a lot of people out there suffering in silence, right? And like the fact
Yeah.
that you're so open about it is good for everyone.
Yeah.
But look, thank you so much for coming on, Sally. Like,
No
what an
worries.
amazing hour. That time's absolutely flown by.
Appreciate
To finish off, is there anything that you'd like to ask us, to shout out anyone? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't think I need any shouts. I just want to say a massive appreciation for firstly having me on here. Secondly, make dog t-shirts, please, because I want to get one.
Yeah, that is.
I want to get one for Caesar, because that would be lit. And I guess just the same question org-wise to what you asked me with Fnatic. Really, I know you've obviously picked up your big thing going on with MSI now, and I know you have a presence very much in like the COD scene. Where's the future? Because I know we spoke a lot, Jack, right? About 6 months ago. Has that changed a lot when we last spoke, or are we still kind of on the same trajectory?
I think so. Like we've made a big switch to live streaming and like to the podcast, because one, even if we do 8 to 16 hours, there's so much content out of that, from like gameplay clips to, you know, when we're sitting there watch partying and just chatting shit to each other. There's funny stuff there.
Yeah.
Podcasts again, like great for me personally, and like because I get to learn from people, which is one of my favorite things. And it's trying to get the people we're talking to tell their experiences, right? And I think there is, like you've mentioned already, about a big learning piece of content that can be done. So like, we're gonna try and tap into that a lot more. Expansion into more games, like obviously the Call of Duty season finishes soon.
Pick up a Halo team, please, so I can like at least have someone to root for, because it's boring being a neutral, bro. I need something. You know what I mean?
We were tempted for like HCS London, right? I would have loved to have got a team there, but budgets and at the time, like I know I've mentioned it before, but we've been working on some deals for like 6-7 months, and like they've all like fallen through. And thankfully for MSI, that deal was so quick to come through. Like we had like a deal that died one day, the next day MSI emailed back, and I was like, fuck, here we go.
Yep.
So
Just have to close for others to open.
exactly.
Amen.
Exactly.
Cool. I guess one for you, Angel, as well. Like I know you're absolutely killing it in the COD scene, and props to you for being consistent in a space that is, in my opinion, very hard to be consistent in right now because of things like allegations. And let's be honest, man, it's a fraction of what it has been over the last couple of years. So for you, and I guess it's a good learning point for me, how have you managed to not do what I did last year and kind of like break down and just go, COD is just driving me mentally insane? How have you like stuck to it?
If I'm brutally honest, I haven't. Like, I don't feel I'm similar to you. Like, if I don't have like everything exactly as I want it and doing my best, if I'm not at the top, I feel like I'm at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I am quite hard on myself with the consistency and stuff. I do personally feel like I haven't kept as consistent as I wanted to.
You definitely don't
But,
look it. I'm not gonna lie. At least from what I see, you look like you've been killing it. So I'm proud of you.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, yeah, definitely stuff I need to work on and things that need to be improved on. But I got a job at the end of last year just to like split my time up.
Yeah.
Because I was finding that when you have all day every day and you've got like a goal of what
Yeah.
you're trying to hit, but you don't have targets to hit on set days, it can get difficult to know when to achieve those goals and like when to get those things done. So I found splitting my time meant that when I wasn't working, well, in theory, it meant when I wasn't working, I'd do more content stuff and I'd use that time more carefully. It ended up being a little bit more of, oh, now I'm at the gym and now I'm working 8 hours a day. I'm getting really tired and I don't want to do it anymore. But no, definitely it does. Splitting your time up and time blocking and time management is a huge thing when you're like self-employed or doing things on your own. So I definitely found that making sure that I get out at least once a day and getting to the gym and working did block up my time separately, and that was like a little refresher that I really did need. But yeah, similarly to you, I think I'm trying to like do the cleanup, like get back to work-life balance and a bit more work than I am life at the moment. But
yeah, I think we're seeing like the new norm in the creator space, right? Where there was this period, especially during lockdown, where everybody was full time,
yeah,
and I think we're starting to see a lot of people who are now like creators, but they're also something else. Because what that does is like, because I know when it gets to a Monday morning, I can't wait to stream, right? Because I stream on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now, and then usually typically Thursday, Friday is my teaching days, or I do other stuff. So that gets that kickback for me, where it's like I actually miss it, and now I really want to go back to it. Whereas where you said when it's all your eggs in just that one basket,
yeah,
it gets really scary, because what about if that basket snaps or you don't
yeah,
earn enough? And especially full-time streaming, right? You're depending on a community, especially if you have like a mortgage and that, to put literally your roof above your head. And that gets toxic really quick. So when people are asking me like, how are you doing this, and this? I'm like, I'm doing that because I love esports and I want to, and I want my foot in every damn pie, because I love casting, I love streaming, I like doing the consulting, I like this and that gaming, whatever. Like, I just enjoy the whole thing. So I know it may seem like a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none, but I would rather have that than drive myself insane.
Definitely. Yeah, and it makes you more rounded person. It gives you these experiences that other creators wouldn't have as well. So I'm personally the same. I like a bit of everything.
Cool.
So I feel like that's definitely a good way of going about it.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. And
thank you.
Can't wait to
Always
see
a pleasure.
what you get up to next.
All right.
Yeah.